everyone, Jason here. Welcome to Jason's O-Gauge Trains and welcome back to the layout. It's late October 2020 and there's been a few things that have been added to the layout. I've also made some pretty significant progress in the new basement in my house in Detroit, Michigan. And there was also some footage from the last layout update that I didn't include because it would have made the video about 45 minutes long and I thought that was just a little too long, so I'm going to include that in this update as well. So the first thing I think we'll do is show you a few of the new items that were just added to the layout. So I have some pretty cool items to show you today, and all three of them are MTH and all three of them are Stockyard Express exclusives. Now, if you've been a follower of my channel over the years, you'll know what I mean, but for those of you who are new to the channel, Stockyard Express is a train store located in Oberlin, Ohio. It's a place where I buy quite a few of my trains, and they do a lot of custom runs with MTH. They'll come up with some kind of paint scheme and road name that is uncatalogued, and MTH only will sell through Stockyard Express. So all three of the items I'm about to show you are Stockyard Express exclusives. So the first item to show you here is Sears Roebuck & Company piggyback sitting on top of a nickel plate road flat car. It's got this beautiful green paint scheme on the side. It even has the Craftsman logo on the ends, which I'll get a close-in shot in just a minute. But this became even more popular when someone on the OGR forum posted a picture of it and showed people just how beautiful this thing is. I don't know if you can really tell on the camera, but this is a really cool looking car, and when I called Clyde at Stockyard Express the next day and asked him to set one aside for me, he said, "You're getting the very last one because the phone has been ringing all day and I sold all of them." So this car in front of you right now, the Sears Roebuck & Company piggyback, it is sold out. You cannot get this anymore. You can't get it from any other dealer. You can't get it at Stockyard Express. It's totally sold out. The only thing that you can do is you could call them and say that you'd like to order one in advance, because if you can get enough orders to do the run again, he'll do it. But as of right now, these are totally sold out. So now it's a pretty unique and rare item, very highly sought after. Let's take a really close look at this. So here's the back end of the trailer, and I know a lot of you will want to be able to see the Craftsman logo, so I'm going to just zoom on that really quick. So you can see that that's located on the door of the trailer. And this kind of lime green paint scheme is just really cool. And again, it sits on a nickel plate road flat car, which in itself without the trailers is really nice as well. One other thing that's worth mentioning is that the actual pad that the trailers sit on right here, this is actually adjustable, and there's a little screw there that if I turn it, it'll actually lower the whole platform down, very similar to the prototype. And finally, I want to just give you a close look at the side of the trailer, because it really is a great looking paint scheme on the side. The green and the red colors, they really pop. I think this thing is going to look really good running around the layout. And here's the second Stockyard Express exclusive item. This is a Western Auto piggyback, also sitting on a nickel plate road flat car. And very similar to the one that I just showed you, this one custom run by Stockyard Express. This one, I think he might have a few left in stock, but I know he didn't have many more left. So if you're interested in this one, you better give him a call right away. Stockyard Express is located at 49293 Plate Road in Oberlin, Ohio. Their phone number is 440-774-2131. So give them a call. You might still be able to snag one of these, but same kind of story. It's a really good looking car, and a lot of people have caught word of these being released, and they're buying them up really quick. And here's a close-up of the back of this one. In the top left it has the Western Auto logo, and in the bottom right it has Davis tires. And just like the last car, I'm going to do a quick zoom in on the side of it because it's such a good looking paint scheme, and just so you can see some of the details on the side. And finally, the last item is this beautiful red caboose, nickel plate road paint scheme. And my understanding is that this is based off of a prototype, and the nickel plate road had caboose number 401 in this kind of paint scheme with the black roof for, I think it was about a year. I don't know the full history on it, but it looks pretty sharp. Let me get a close look at the end really quick. So a lot of details on the end with the separately applied brake wheel, the yellow painted handrails, and there is a little light on the top of the caboose as well, that when there's track power on, that little red light turns on. So it looks pretty sharp. So this is the first nickel plate road caboose that I own, and I'm really glad I picked it up because now I can run it behind my nickel plate road 765 Berkshire with some freight cars. I think it'll look really good. Stockyard Express did have a few more of these in stock in case you're interested. The item number on it is 20-91678. Okay, and next, the part that I'm always really excited for, the progress that I've been making in my basement. For those of you who don't know, this layout is built in the basement of my parents' house. I started building it when I was in high school, and I've since graduated college, like 6 years ago actually. So this layout is over 10 years old. I own my own house. I have a basement that I spent the whole winter finishing, and it's finally done and ready for a new layout, and there's been some pretty good progress happening over there. So let's go ahead and check that out real quick. Alright, it is Sunday, October 4th. It's feeling pretty good today because the Browns are currently killing the Dallas Cowboys, so pretty happy about that. And I'm feeling really excited about what's been done in the basement this weekend. So again, today is Sunday, October 4th. This past Friday, October 2nd, I had my lumber order delivered to the house. Here's a quick picture of it arriving on the truck. That's 60 2x4x12s, which obviously not very cheap because of how expensive lumber is right now. But that arrived on Friday. Yesterday, Saturday, October 3rd, me and my buddy Mark Sarver went to work on building the benchwork in the basement. And we spent the entire day building benchwork. Another member of the Detroit 3-Railers, Joe DeLute, stopped by too and was helping us get started and let us use his laser leveler. So a big thanks to him as well. But I'm going to show you what we got done because it is pretty impressive if I do say so myself. And I think you guys are going to be real excited to see what we got done. So let's go take a look. Alright, so here we go into the basement. First look at the benchwork. I'm going to start from the left. I'm going to slowly move right where it continues all the way to the back wall and all the way to the right where the roundhouse and turntable is going to be. All of the rough benchwork is built and in place. Simply incredible. Let me do a slow walkthrough from one end to the other. So starting from the left, moving right, the engines that are sitting here are just to give you some perspective. Both of them are MTH Premier SD70 ACEs, and they're just to give you an idea of the size of the layout. So if I look this way, you can see from the edge here all the way to the back. This is about 13 feet from the edge here to the back wall, and from this edge to the far wall is about 30 feet. So the main table is about 30 feet by 13 feet at this widest point here. Again, just engines are just sitting here to give you some perspective as to the size of the layout. So pretty far over there. There's definitely layouts that are much bigger than mine, but compared to my last layout, this is a very big step up. That layout was 21 by 8 feet. And this main table, like I just said, 30 feet by 13 feet. And then if we, actually I'll come this way. Here's where it will spur off of the main table. And we'll come along this way to the roundhouse and turntable. So that's why this big opening is left here, because the turntable will drop inside and then the whisker tracks will come off to the right, and then they'll converge back to two tracks that come along this wall here, and there'll be a little bit of space for some diesel engine storage and maybe a long string of passenger cars. We'll play around with that. We'll see how it works. But that's all in place, and I gotta tell you, I did not think we were gonna get all this done in one day. I thought we'd get maybe half of it. When we got to about that point, and I was like, okay, we're probably done today. And my buddy Mark is like, I'll keep going if you want to. I was like, yeah, let's keep going. So we spent the entire day until we got done with this side. So let me walk back over to the left and show you some of the features built in over here. So this main table is kind of built in two different methods. Starting here, the first thing we did was we put in the cleat, which was just a straight 2x4, starting there, running against the wall, screwed into the stud, going around the entire perimeter of the layout, ending there. So we used a laser leveler to make sure that we got that at the right height and that it was all leveled, because this floor it's all over the place. It's lowest point there where the floor drain is, and it really just moves all over the place. That's not a fault of the house, that's just how basements are, especially those that were built in 1954, which mine is. So the way that this right side was built is you can see that nailed or screwed, we didn't use any nails, all this is screwed in these hurricane clips into the cleat, and then we have these stringers that would run to the end. We'd cap them off with 2x4s and then raise them up and attach these L-girder legs, which here, I'll get a good look at one of them here. So this is just an L-girder leg. All of them are built this way, and all of them have adjusters on the bottom. And again, that had to be done because of how uneven the floor is in this basement. So that's how pretty much this whole right side of the layout was built. But over here we did sort of the more traditional build a box frame on the floor and frame it up and then lift it and get it on legs. And the reason we did that is because of a few of the features that this side is going to have. This big square here is a cutout because a lot of tracks will come under a town here and will be going around, and I'm going to need to be able to pop up underneath the raised level to get to anything that might derail or need cleaned. And then this area is all left open because I'm going to have the lower reverse loop feature, kind of like my current layout. And it's going to start here, and we're going to need to build the ramp going down. And if I duck under here, come back up, that track as it continues to descend will come back here, and we'll continue going down all the way to here, where it'll finally be about 7 inches under the layout, and it'll do a huge reverse loop and double back on itself. And I actually think I'm going to have a passing track down there as well. So it'll be a reverse loop with a passing track siding, which is something I do not have on the current layout. Once the reverse loop is in place, then we can put in a few support structures to tie this part of the layout back into the cleat, just to give it a little more strength. But that'll be what's next, and I still have to put in a few more legs going down the very center of the layout just to give it some more strength, because I'll be crawling all over this thing. And if we look underneath, I mean, that's not too many legs under here so far. So there'll be a few more going down the center, and maybe a couple more around the edge, but it's going to be very easy for me to crawl under this layout and do wiring, store stuff under here. A lot more friendly than the current layout is. Now again, this is just the rough framing. Once the top deck is put on, it'll actually extend further out from these 2x4s. That's why the blue tape is still on the ground, because that's going to be the edge of the actual surface of the layout. So the plywood will actually extend over a little bit of the framing, but we're not going to just deck the whole thing right away. Like I said, we really need to, one, build a few more leg supports to make sure the layout is as strong as possible. Then we'll have to start constructing the ramp to go down and build the actual lower reverse loop. Then I can start decking across the whole layout and then start putting track down and hopefully have some trains running here soon. And I've made a little more progress, so I want to show you that. I've added some more support legs, particularly on this side of the layout. There are going to be more supports going through the middle of all these stringers. There'll be a long beam with multiple legs on it to keep the center of the layout sturdy and from bowing in. And then if I pan left, you'll see that I've already got some of the decking tacked in place. My friend Mark came over a few days ago and we did this together. And I'll show you everything that we've worked on. We tacked the 4x8 sheet in the back down, and we tacked this one in place, and then we'll fill in the middle portion. But this big square will stay open. This will be an access point. So when the top level is in place, which is going to cover everything you see here, I'll be able to get under the layout and get to the trains if something derails or to clean the track. And here is where you can see the reverse loop that descends under the layout will start to go down. Let me show you the plans really quick. Here's the plans for the main level, and we're looking at this section on the left here. So the second from the outside track, which comes off of the switch, that is what descends down. And then right here where it seems to dead end, we'll pick it up here. This is the level under the layout. So this point here is where we come off of this switch. So if we take that switch, we descend down, and then by this point we're all the way under the layout. And then we have the reverse loop that goes all the way around and doubles back on itself. And there's also a passing siding down there as well. So one track will always be open for a train to reverse, and then there's room down there to park a train. And then another thing I added, and hopefully I can make this happen, is I have another switch that comes off, and this, which is also under the layout and dead ends over by the roundhouse area, is just another parking track. That's just to park a train for kind of long-term storage, or just have some cars stored down there. So that's what I'm working on now, and just to give you an idea of how big this area is, this curve here is 090, this is also 090, this is 081, and finally 072 on this track. The auto racks and the intermodal car are here because they are the tallest and the longest cars that I own. So for one, I can make sure that the cars aren't going to hit each other in the tightest parts of the curve. I also have my Allegheny here, so I can make sure that the articulated engines won't hit each other. But then this intermodal car made by Atlas is one of my tallest cars. So I can use these to test curve clearance, and when we descend under the layout, that will be what I use to test the height as well. And down here on the floor is the actual cutout for the ramp that'll descend. So here I am crawling under the layout, which there's actually plenty of room for me. You can see back here, this piece that's cut out will eventually be in place coming straight down, and will be pretty much completely under the layout by this 2x4. And then we'll be able to build the lower reverse loop. So it's exciting to see some decking down. Hoping to get some more done this week. Again, this is all thanks to the help of my buddy Mark assisting me with this, as well as my friend Charlie, so big thanks to them. So the layout is really starting to take shape. I know someone will ask, yeah, those are Ross custom switch boxes over there. I'm going to probably use a couple of those on the lower part of the layout. Not because I don't like Atlas switches, but to save a few dollars, and because I know Ross is considered to be very reliable, I'm going to want a really reliable switch underneath the layout, one that I don't have to do a bunch of maintenance on or won't be difficult to fix if something goes wrong. So I'm going to try out the Ross custom switches down there for the first time, and I think that'll be a good idea. Yeah, I got some more track boxes over there. So pretty exciting time happening down here in the basement. This has been a lot of fun so far. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed seeing the start of the new layout. I am very excited to get going on that, and that means I'm getting very close to having to start tearing this layout down, which will probably start happening in just a few weeks. Probably a lot of work during the Thanksgiving holiday will be spent tearing this down and transporting stuff up to the house up in Detroit. But as you can see, the layout, very large. It's going to be an improvement on what I have here. And honestly, as much as I love this layout and it's going to be really hard to tear it down and say goodbye, I'm just so excited to move all of this as much as I can up to my house. Very exciting times for me. Okay, and finally the part of the video that I wasn't able to include in my last update. I took a trip to Stockyard Express and I videoed my visit there, and I know people really like it when I take a walk through the store and I show you what they have in their inventory, because it's such a great store and they have so much in stock all the time. So we're going to go ahead and head over there and show you all the footage that I took on my last visit to Stockyard Express. Okay, I already got what I needed to pick up, but I'm going to go back through the store and do a walkthrough. And here's a delivery truck that just showed up. So when I say they have trains delivered by the truckload, I'm not kidding. There's one pallet unloaded, and there's still several more that they're unloading from this truck. I've never been here when they've received a delivery like this before, so it's pretty cool to see. But all weekend they'll be going through, I think they said maybe 4 pallets, which is just incredible. A lot of trains. Must wear a mask.
That's pretty good baler twine, Jason.
Oh yeah?
Well, he's got it.
Did you get the pallet out?
No, he got one. He's got 4 of them.
Oh, okay. A lot of cars that are 143 scale, 148 scale. They look pretty cool on the layout. Here's the main shelf for MTH Premier and Rail King engines. It's still a pretty packed shelf, but there's actually a few empty spots. But I think maybe after they unload that truck outside, the shelves will be packed up again. Lionel accessories. Now we'll go into the second room. Another shelf with a few sets. If I look back where we came from, the shelf is jam-packed with Rail King buildings all the way from the floor to the ceiling. There's add-on passenger car sets here. A few American Flyer items. Some Lionel Polar Express. Some cool things on the shelf here. And here we have a bunch of Lionel rolling stock. There's some older stuff here. Some new stuff here. Here's their display layout. And there is a brand new item on this layout to show you, a custom run item. These are pretty cool. It's a Stockyard Express boxcar. Look at that. This is pretty cool to have your own train cars and your own train store. So these were a custom run that MTH did. I think they've got maybe a dozen of these left in stock. Don't have many though. This is a wall of all MTH Premier rolling stock. Still have a lot in their inventory, but they have been selling stuff pretty fast after the announcement of MTH closing, and people are uncertain of what's going to happen. So if you think you see something and you want to buy it, I I'd recommend jumping on it right away. A few Atlas items over here. They'll get you anything you want. They'll order Atlas, Lionel, MTH. The majority of what Clyde has in stock here is MTH, then Lionel, and then a little bit of Atlas. They used to be really big into Weaver before Weaver closed the doors, but here's the other side of the layout. It's a cool station scene. Some more MTH Premier all along this shelf. I'd get in close on every item, but I'd be here for the next 3 hours recording. So I'm just giving you guys the overview as to how big this store is and how much inventory they have here. And some Transformers here. They currently don't have any Z4000s in stock, but they have an order placed and coming, so that's another item. If you think you want a Z4000, I'd get yours reserved or pre-ordered as soon as possible, because we don't know what's going to be the fate of that Transformer. Might be really hard to get them in another year or two, but still lots of Z1000 stuff here. And that's it. I'm going to go back towards the entrance. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed that little visit to Stockyard Express. And I'm going to conclude this video with footage of the trains running like I usually do. And I'm going to keep trying to produce content for you all to enjoy. A lot of things happening. It's a very busy time in my life, so I apologize if I'm not as regular with the uploads, but I've really been trying to keep you all in the loop of what's going on and what I've been busy with. So more to come. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll do my best to answer your questions in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.